I didn't choose the silk. The silk chose me. It began the night she locked the door behind me. Soft click, final, echoing through my spine like a sentence being passed. The room was dim, lit only by a single warm lamp that made everything look softer than it felt inside my chest. On the bed lay the outfit. Not clothes. Not lingerie. A command, stitched in ribbons and pale pink fabric that shimmered like something alive. She sat on the edge of the bed, legs crossed, posture perfect, watching me with the calm of someone who knew she had already won. "Take off your clothes," she said. No anger. No threat. Just expectation. My breath tightened. My hands didn't move. She raised one eyebrow, slow, elegant, dangerous. "You disobey once," she said. "I correct. You disobey twice." Her smile grew softer, scarier. "I punish." Behind her, I saw the faint silhouette of something hanging on the wall, a thin bamboo cane, polished to a gleam. My stomach twisted. "I don't want this," I whispered. "You don't need to want it," she replied. "You need to understand it." Her voice wrapped around me like invisible fingers. Firm. Certain. Silken and cold. She stood and walked toward me with quiet, measured steps. The silk sheets rustled behind her like whispers. When she reached me, she didn't touch me. She simply stood close enough that her perfume enveloped me. Vanilla, jasmine, and a darker note I could never name. My knees weakened. "This isn't about what you want," she said softly. "This is about what you look like when you finally stop pretending you don't crave structure." Her fingers finally touched my chin. Light, teasing, claiming. "You want to resist," she whispered. "But you don't know how to walk away." I swallowed hard. "I can walk away." "Then do it." Silence. I didn't move. She smiled slowly. I knew it. Her thumb brushed my lips, and my breath stuttered. "Your obedience," she murmured, "is already showing." She stepped back and nodded toward the silken outfit on the bed. "Put it on, or kneel." The air left my lungs. Either choice was a surrender. Either choice was the beginning of something I hadn't prepared for. My hand lifted, not because I wanted to obey, but because I didn't know how to refuse her without shaking. Her eyes gleamed with victory. "Good," she whispered. "Tonight you learn the difference between obedience." She leaned forward until her breath brushed my ear. "And punishment." And that was the moment I realized. She wasn't breaking me. She was shaping me. Silk isn't quiet. Not when it slides across skin that doesn't know how to wear softness. Not when it clings to a body still resisting its own surrender. Not when it becomes a cage, warm, delicate, and inescapable. That was the first thing I learned when I picked up the outfit. It felt like holding a secret I wasn't allowed to open yet. Smooth. Cool. Too elegant for my trembling hands. Behind me, she waited, silent, patient, terrifyingly composed. "Go on," she said. "Feel it. Understand what's being asked of you." Her voice sent a shiver down my spine. Not because it was angry, but because it was calm. Too calm. I lifted the garment higher and felt the fabric spill through my fingers like liquid light. The lace edges brushed my skin, and a strange warmth crept up my arms. My pulse quickened. She noticed instantly. "Interesting," she murmured. "You're already reacting." "I'm not." "Sure." Her finger pressed lightly to her lips. A command disguised as a gesture. "You'll learn that explanations are unnecessary when your body tells the truth faster than your mouth." Heat shot through my face. She walked behind me, so close I could feel her breath on the back of my neck. Her hands didn't touch me, yet they felt everywhere. "Put it on," she said, slowly. My throat tightened. "Do you want to punish me that badly?" I asked. She let a soft laugh escape, low, velvety, dangerous. "Oh, sweetheart. If I wanted to punish you, you'd already be on your knees." My breath faltered. "This," she whispered, "is obedience training. The punishment comes after you understand what it feels like to disappoint me." Her words hit harder than any threat. It wasn't fear that tied my stomach into knots. It was anticipation. A horrifying, breath-stealing anticipation. I lowered my eyes, unable to meet her gaze, and slipped the first strap over my shoulder. The silk whispered across my chest, a soft, intimate sound. Too intimate. The fabric molded to me as if it knew my shape better than I did. I tugged the hem down, feeling it tighten around my waist, forcing my posture straighter, slimmer, prettier. My breath quickened. Good, she said behind me. Slower. I didn't dare disobey. I adjusted the bodice in agonizing increments, every pull of silk making me painfully aware of how helpless I looked. The mirror on the opposite wall reflected a version of me I didn't want to understand, soft, hesitant, fragile. Her doll. When I finally looked up, she stepped forward, her eyes sweeping over me from head to toe, evaluating, consuming, deciding. Not a word left her lips. Just a faint, cruel smile. She walked in a slow circle around me, fingertips grazing the air inches from my body, never touching, making the need for her touch feel like punishment on its own. Turn. I turned. Slower. I obeyed. She stopped behind me. I felt the air shift right before her fingers brushed my waist, light teasing, learning every contour she created. You look like someone trying not to break, she whispered. That's my favorite version of you. My knees almost gave out. Her hands came to rest gently on my hips, guiding them into a feminine tilt. Better, she breathed. Much better. I swallowed hard. Why are you doing this to me? She leaned in, her lips grazing the shell of my ear. Because you don't understand your place yet. A chill crawled down my spine. And because, her fingers slid upward, tracing the line of silk that hugged my torso. Obedience looks beautiful on you. My breath hitched. You think this is cruelty, she said. It is discipline. I shook my head weakly. It feels like control. She smiled darkly. Everything beautiful is controlled. Her nails lightly scratched the silk at my waist, barely a touch, yet it made my whole body tighten. Your punishment, she whispered, comes only when you resist what you were made for. I wasn't made for this. She turned me sharply by the chin, forcing me to meet her eyes. You think you know yourself? She asked, eyes burning into mine. You think you understand who you are beneath all that fear? Her thumb brushed my lower lip. Slow. Claiming. Soft enough to terrify. Let me show you who you become when you stop lying to yourself. My heart pounded so violently I thought she might hear it. Tonight, she said, you won't be punished. Relief washed through me. Too early. But tomorrow, her smile deepened. We find out how long your obedience lasts before you break. Silence fell. Not peaceful silence. The kind of silence that means the rules have just changed. The kind that promises the next step will hurt, and thrill, and reshape everything I think I am. Because tonight wasn't the punishment. Tonight was the preparation. Her hand slid down my arm, fingers lacing into mine. Not tender, not affectionate, but instructive. Come, she said. I followed. Not because she pulled me, but because something inside me obeyed before I could even decide. The hallway felt colder than the room I'd just left, wide, dimly lit, and hauntingly quiet. My hand was still in hers, but she wasn't pulling me anymore. I wasn't resisting anymore. I wasn't anything anymore. I simply followed. Her steps were silent. Mine weren't. The soft, unwilling click of my heels echoed like confessions across the floor. She finally stopped in front of a door I had never seen open. Tall, black, carved with delicate patterns that looked almost like vines wrapping around thorns. My breath caught. Not because of the door, but because of the feeling in my gut. The sense that whatever waited behind it was going to change me in a way I couldn't undo. She turned slowly toward me. Your posture, she murmured, her eyes narrowing, is already different. I stiffened, instinctively correcting myself. Back straight, shoulders lowered, neck elongated. Exactly the way she had forcibly trained me in the past days. Her lips curved. I didn't tell you to adjust, she said, brushing a finger down my arm. You did that on your own. I froze. Her gaze sharpened, victorious. You see? Obedience becomes instinct long before you realize it. My chest tightened. That's not obedience, I whispered. That's fear. She stepped closer, so close her breath warmed my cheek. Fear is obedience, she said softly. And soon, obedience will feel like comfort. A shiver ran through me. Before I could speak, she placed a hand on the door and pushed it open. The room inside was nothing like the rest of the house. Soft pink lighting, velvet curtains, a full-length mirror framed in gold, a faint, sweet vanilla scent drifting through the air. And in the center, a padded bench with silk ties draped over it. My stomach dropped. What is this? I whispered. She didn't answer. She walked inside, letting her fingers trail across the bench with intimate familiarity. Then she looked back at me, her eyes gleaming like she was studying prey that had finally stopped running. Come, she said again. I stepped inside. Not because I wanted to. Because her voice carried a truth I could no longer deny. I was already halfway broken. When the door closed behind me, everything went still. Silent. Expectant. She approached slowly, her heels making soft, deliberate clicks on the floor. Do you know why you're here? She asked. No. Her fingers traced lightly along my jaw. The touch felt like silk over fire. You're here, she whispered, because you disobeyed. My breath quickened. When? Her hand moved down my throat, pausing at the delicate charm resting there. When you doubted. My pulse slammed against her palm. Punishment isn't only for actions, she continued. It's for thoughts, hesitations, instincts you haven't unlearned yet. My mouth went dry. I didn't. She pressed a finger to my lips. You did. The softness of her voice made everything worse, like anger would have been kinder. She walked around me slowly, appraising every shift of my body, every tremble, every futile attempt at holding myself together. Fear suits you, she said from behind me. But guilt. Her hands slid around my waist, resting lightly against the silk. Guilt is even prettier. I sucked in a sharp breath. Now, she murmured, turn toward the mirror. I hesitated, and immediately regretted it. Her fingers tightened at my waist. Don't make me repeat myself. My body reacted before my mind did. I turned. The mirror didn't show me. Not the me I remembered. The silk outfit clung to me like it belonged there. My posture had softened. My legs stood closer together. My expression, wide-eyed, breathless, looked like someone waiting for direction. A stranger. A creation. Her creation. I felt her step behind me, her reflection appearing over my shoulder, calm and composed. Look at yourself, she said. I tried. I tried to see the man I had been. But all I saw was something delicate, something shaped, molded, poised. Something helpless in a way that terrified me. She leaned close until her lips nearly touched my ear. Tell me what you see. I don't know. Try. I swallowed hard. I see someone weak. She smiled, her chin brushing my shoulder. No, her voice dropped to a hypnotic whisper. You see someone becoming who they were meant to be. My hands tightened into fists, but even that felt dainty. This isn't who I am. Not yet. Her hand cupped my cheek, angling my face slightly. But you're closer today than yesterday. My eyes burned. I didn't agree to this. She touched a finger to the silk ribbon at my waist. You didn't have to. I flinched as she slowly, deliberately pulled the ribbon tighter. My breath hitched, the pressure firm, inescapable. You're learning, she murmured. To breathe differently. To stand differently. To exist differently. Her voice deepened. But today, we test your limits. My pulse thudded painfully. How? I whispered. Her smile darkened. You're going to kneel in front of your reflection. My heart stopped. No. Shoo, she breathed. I'm not asking. Her fingers slid down my arms and guided them behind my back. Then, with deliberate slowness, she reached for the silk ties draped across the bench. The meaning hit me like ice. No, please don't. Her voice was soft, patient, merciless. This isn't punishment, she said, gathering the ties in her hands. This is correction. My knees weakened. Last chance, she said behind me. Kneel on your own, or I'll put you there. My breath came out in a broken whisper. I can't. Her lips brushed my ear. You will. And then, her hand pressed the small of my back. My knees hit the floor. Not forced. Not chosen. Something in between. Something terrifying. Something inevitable. Her fingers caressed the back of my neck, warm and claiming. There, she whispered. Now the real obedience begins. The corridor outside her private chamber felt colder than anywhere else in the mansion. Maybe it wasn't the temperature. Maybe it was the way my body reacted whenever I crossed this threshold. My heartbeat tightening, my breath shallow, my steps careful and measured like I was walking toward judgment. Tonight, the silence didn't comfort me. It stalked me. The moment the door slid open, a shimmer of soft pink light spilled out, brushing across my skin like a warning. The scent of roses, sharp, intentional, wrapped around me like invisible hands. And then I saw her. She stood at the far end of the room, her back to me, her silhouette framed by the warm glow of lanterns. Her posture was perfect, authoritative, calm. Too calm. My knees weakened. Whenever she was calm, I knew something intense was coming. Close the door, she whispered. The door clicked shut behind me. I felt trapped again, but not just trapped. Owned. She still didn't turn. Do you know why you're here? My throat tightened. Because I didn't follow your schedule? No, her voice dropped to a tone that made my stomach twist. You hesitated. That word hit harder than any slap. Hesitation. Hesitation was the crime she hated most. She said it made me unpredictable, unstable, resistant. And resistance had a price. She faced me slowly, her eyes sharp, too observant, too knowing. I felt naked under that gaze even though I was fully dressed. Pink satin camisole, matching panties, a thin silk robe that exposed more than it covered. A uniform of obedience. A uniform of surrender. Come here, she said. I stepped forward, my body trembling in ways I couldn't control. My heels clicked softly on the floor, small, delicate, humiliating reminders of what she'd sculpted me into. She took my chin between her fingers, lifting it until I had no choice but to look directly at her. You're beautiful, she said gently. But then her eyes hardened. Yet beauty without obedience is useless. My breath shook. I'm trying. No, she corrected, her voice now cold steel. You're obeying only when it's easy. That's when I saw it, the long silk ribbon resting on the velvet table behind her. Light pink. Shiny. Soft. Deceptively gentle. My heart dropped. The ribbon wasn't for decoration. It was never just a ribbon. Turn around, she ordered. My hands shook as I obeyed. The air felt electric. My skin prickled. Every nerve in my body braced for what was coming. The ribbon slid around my wrists, cold at first, then warm as she pulled it tight. Not painfully tight. Just tight enough to remind me who decided the limits. Tonight, she whispered in my ear, her breath warm against my neck, you learn what devotion really means. She guided me toward the mirrored wall. The reflection hit me, silky hair cascading over my shoulders, flushed cheeks, parted lips, body trembling, wrists bound in soft pink. I looked like a doll designed to obey. A creation crafted to please. No looking away, she said. Her fingers traced down my spine, slow, deliberate. You will see exactly what you are. I swallowed. Hard. My reflection stared back. Vulnerable, feminized, shaped by her will. Then she lifted my chin with one finger, forcing my eyes open wider. Repeat after me, she commanded. I am made of silk. My voice cracked. I am made of silk. Louder. I am made of silk. Good. She circled me slowly like a queen appraising her most valuable possession. And silk must never resist. My chest rose and fell rapidly. Shame, fear, anticipation, all tangled inside me like knots she kept tightening. She leaned in again, her lips brushing my ear. Tonight isn't punishment, she murmured. It's correction. Her fingers trailed down my arms, stopping at the ribbon binding my wrists. I will shape you into perfection, she whispered. And you will thank me for every step. Her words crawled under my skin, into my head, rewriting thoughts I'd tried so hard to keep mine. My legs wobbled. My breath trembled. And then, she pulled me closer. Not harsh. Not gentle. Controlled. Her voice was a warning and a promise. When I'm done with you, her nails grazed my skin softly, too softly. You'll never dare to hesitate again. At that moment, I believed her. And the terrifying part? Some part of me wanted to. The room had changed. I didn't notice it at first, too overwhelmed by her presence, her closeness, the ribbon tightening around my wrists like a promise I couldn't break. But then the lights dimmed on their own, replaced by a deep rose-gold glow that washed over every surface. The walls shimmered with soft reflections, almost alive, making the space feel endless, like I'd stepped into a world built only for her control, and my surrender. I wasn't just in her room anymore. I was in her domain. She guided me forward, not with force, but with something more terrifying. Expectation. She didn't need strength to command me. The way she looked at me was enough. Breathe slowly, she whispered, standing behind me now. Your body listens better when your mind stops fighting. My breath trembled, but I followed the rhythm she set. In, out, in. Her hand rested on my waist, steady, grounding, dangerously gentle. Good. You respond beautifully when you stop thinking. My reflection stared back from the mirror, blush-kissed cheeks, glossy lips slightly parted, eyelashes trembling like fragile wings. Bound wrists. Silken robe slipping off one shoulder. I didn't look like someone being punished. I looked like someone being shaped. And she knew it. You see it, don't you? Her voice slid down my spine, silky and commanding. You're becoming what you were always meant to be. I am not. But my voice betrayed me, soft, shaky, almost pleading. Not masculine. Not defiant. Not the person I used to be. She stepped in front of me, lifting my chin so gently it hurt. Look at yourself, she said. Look at how easily you bend, how naturally you follow. I swallowed, throat tight. I didn't choose this. No, she smiled, slow, knowing, dangerous. I chose for you. The words hit like a shockwave. But that's the beauty of silk. She traced the ribbon binding my wrists. It doesn't choose its shape. It becomes the shape given to it. She turned me, guiding me backward until my knees touched the velvet chaise lounge behind me. She pushed me down, carefully, deliberately, until I was seated, breath shaking, heart racing. Kneel, she commanded quietly. My body froze. My mind screamed no. But my legs moved anyway. Silk doesn't resist. The moment my knees touched the soft carpet, her smile deepened. Not cruel. Not mocking. Satisfied. As you kneel, she whispered, lifting my chin again, you leave behind the last piece of your old self. My pulse pounded in my ears. You want to stand, she said. Fight. Run. Speak. Her fingers slid under my jaw, tilting my head back. But you kneel anyway. My breath hitched. She leaned in until her lips brushed my cheek. Not a kiss, but a mark. You obey because you're mine. My knees weakened further. Then she walked around me slowly, her fingers gliding along the silk ribbon at my wrists. You know what the real punishment is? She whispered behind me. I shook my head, trembling. And no. That I don't need force. Her voice darkened. I only need your surrender. The ribbon tightened, not painfully, but decisively. My breath caught. And tonight, her fingers slid down my arms. You finally understand the difference between obedience, the lights dimmed deeper, and devotion. My body melted forward instinctively, bowing without thought, the silk ribbon pulling my hands behind me. I didn't realize I was whispering until the words escaped my lips. Please. She smiled, her shadow falling over me, warm and impossible to escape. There it is, she said softly. Silken obedience. She knelt with me, lifting my chin once more. You were never meant to resist. Her forehead touched mine. You were meant to be perfected. And in that moment, in that impossible, terrifying, intoxicating moment, I realized she was right. Because I didn't feel broken. I felt transformed, claimed, redesigned. And as she whispered her final command of the night, "Yield to me," I finally understood why silk isn't torn. It's shaped. And I let myself become hers completely.